Hello and welcome everyone here at LifeWave. My name is Garrett Johnson. I am the US and Canada General Manager. It is my pleasure to come to you today to do our LifeWave Connect business webinar for the month of March. What an exciting time. We just continue to see and break new records every single month. And as we look to the future, I think that we're just going to continue to see more and more amazing, exciting growth. And it's all because of you and the efforts that you're putting in every single day to make this all possible. And so we certainly want to say thank you for everything that you're doing to make LifeWave what it is today. We are all one big LifeWave family, and we're certainly grateful. I apologize. I got a lot of sun coming in here and trying to make sure I'm kind of positioned in a spot where it's not directly in my face. But it is certainly exciting to have a nice, bright, and sunny day. We've had a lot of snow here recently, here in Utah and Draper, which is where our office is. We'd love to also see if you're just coming in right now, and we'd see where you're all calling in from, and just type in maybe where you're in. We've already had quite a few of you already start doing that, but I'd love to be able to see kind of where we have people coming in. I mean, certainly the US, Canada, all over Europe. It looks like even some in Asia as well. So thank you for being on today. It is a very exciting time here at LifeWave. There's so much going on. But today we have an opportunity to talk about a topic that I think is going to be very, very important. Because as we continue to grow, it's not just that we have new people coming in and learning about what LifeWave is all about in the patches, which is probably one of the most important things that we do in sharing our message. But how do we help people to move up and to take that next step in leadership, to be able to continue to grow and improve themselves? And I think personal development is one of the best tools or things that people will get from joining a network marketing business, especially here at LifeWave. And as we learn and we grow, we build our own leadership abilities. And so today we're going to be talking about how do we do that, not just for ourselves, but also for those in our team. Now, our special guest today is someone who I've had a chance to work with for a number of years now, and know that she has made an incredible impact on her team in both building a healthy group of people who are making a difference and sharing that message of health and wellness throughout all over the U.S. and into other parts of the world as well. But she's just someone who has been very instrumental in just the health arena, and being able to help many people in improving their health. But now she's taking that step, as everyone does as they start to grow these businesses, to take that leadership role. And so it's my pleasure to bring on one of our senior presidential directors, Dr. Jen O Sullivan. Jen, thanks for being on with us today.
You're welcome. I'm so honored to be here. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak into the lives of all of our LifeWave family. So I'm just going to dive right in, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
All good.
Certainly love to hear about, what yours doing. And I will say this as well. You had a chance to kind of share a similar message at one of our boot camps. And one of the things we got from this, and this is just to kind of set the stage, it was one of our more popular topics. I mean, people kept coming up to me over and over again saying, "Oh, I love what Dr. Jen had to share." So yes, please do. I will just turn the time over to you and let you run with it. I'm looking forward to be able to hear this again.
Excellent. Well, I will say being able to speak at boot camp was awesome. It was an interesting thing for sure, because I tend to get a little bit nervous at these things. And you guys who watch me speak all the time, I speak all the time, but then I'm always nervous. So I'm just going to share my screen, share some slides with you, help you to see sort of what we're going to talk about. When Garrett contacted me about boot camp and then about us speaking into your lives today, he do the Inspire Leadership Talk. And I always think it's so funny to me, because like, who am I, right? As far as a leader, I think that so many people consider themselves, really great leaders, but I often look at myself as a complete train wreck. My husband laughs at me and says, you're a liar. He sees the train wreck and the mess, but realistically, it's because we get stuff done, and because we're always working on ourselves. I'm going to give you a lot of things today to think about. It's going to be jam-packed. I like what's called fire hose learning. This is me. I'm a board certified doctor of naturopathy. If you're wondering, I'm also got a lot of other degrees in other health and wellness areas. I'm a senior presidential director with LifeWave. I've been with LifeWave just a little bit over 2 years, and it has been the best 2 years in this industry. I have been in this industry for over 31 years, and I will tell you, I have made a wreck and a mess of a lot of different teams and have had to learn a lot along the way. So I just want to ask you quickly or at least remind you and ask you, did you know that you're contagious? And what I mean by that is you have the ability to throw your own energy, right? Whether it's positive or negative, by up to 10 feet. That's wild to me because I will say, how often do we have bad energy? How often do we have good energy? Personally, I'm an introvert. So oftentimes it's bad energy because I'm just like, in my own little world. But my question to you is, who are you? Or more realistic, who do you want to be? And I loved our theme for convention this last year. Do you want to be the light or the darkness? And it's a hard question to ask because you get to decide. You get to decide at what level you want to play in this big, huge sandbox that we call our home. And so I also want to ask, do you know any energy vampires? Now, you know those people because they're not just bad energy, they suck the energy. You see them and it's just, what just happened? Everything went well and now everything is rotten. Are you an energy vampire? Sometimes I'm looking around thinking, man, I'm the problem. It's me. And we have to get really good at stopping our blame shifting. In our family, we joke all the time that we just are a bunch of blame shifters. Nope, it was his fault. Nope, it was his fault. Nope, mom did it. It's like nobody can take ownership. As a leader, we actually do need to be better at taking ownership. Okay, so we've talked about goals before. You've seen, people talk about how do you set goals? What does this look like as a leader? And we know that a goal without a plan is just a wish. But when it comes to goal setting, what I'd like to do real quick is do a quick interactive thing with you right now. So I'd like you to get a piece of paper. I know you're sitting at home, like maybe in your jammies, maybe you're at work. Get a piece of paper and write down what you considered your goal to be this year. What did you want in January? Has that changed? What is it? Be really specific and just write it down. It should only be like one sentence. So it might have been, I want to be a senior presidential director, or I want to be an elite senior presidential director, or I want to win the trip, or I want to be a leader of a large organization. I don't know what maybe it was a monetary goal. What was the amount? I want to make this amount per month. So write down whatever your goal is or was and what you're working on right now. And the thing about goals is we all know that it has a lot better chance of happening if you write it down. The problem with goals is, and the thing that I will teach you differently today is we're going to rip the Band-Aid off, so to speak, when it comes to goal setting. So what I want you to do with that piece of paper that you just wrote your very important goal on, okay? So all of you should have your goal written down. What I want you to do is crinkle it up, rip it up, whatever it is, throw it in the trash, okay? Goal setting is actually garbage, in my opinion. Some of you may have never heard this before. Some of you are maybe confused right now. I don't believe in goal setting because when you write something down and you set a goal, we tend to sort of forget it. You might not actually make an action plan. Maybe you're really good at all of those SMART goals, the steps that it takes to create and make those goals happen. However, if you're missing one very important ingredient to goal setting, it won't happen. None of it will happen. And so many of us think, well, you deserve it. It's just in your mindset. There's all these colloquial phrases and platitudes that people will tell you surrounding goals. And I'm here to tell you right now that it's just not true. Okay. The only way you're going to get your goals to happen is if you shift your identity. Okay. So what does that look like? Well, you need to identify what it is you stand for. Remember when you were little and you said, when I grow up, I want to be this, or, we just had every potential in the world when we were a kid. But what do you want to stand for? What do you want to be known for? This is a very interesting question to ask. It's a little morbid, but what do you want your gravestone to say? What do you want your legacy to be? You have to shift your identity. Now, I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about when we think about something. I'm a mountain biker, and I can sit there and tell you all day long that I am a mountain biker. I compete. I'm a leader. I'm one of the, actual cycling leads, all this stuff. But the reality is I haven't ridden my bike since the summer. Literally, I haven't. We've had so much going on. So I can't actually say I'm a mountain biker right now. It's a little laughable to do so, right? And because the reality is I could know all the stats, I could have all the bikes. We have like 12 bikes in our garage. I can have the best equipment, the best gear. At the end of the day, if I'm not riding that bike, I'm not a mountain biker. So that makes me fake. That makes me inauthentic, right? That's not identify. Like I could identify all I want, but until I get on that bike, right? So you get what I'm saying. You could identify as a motivational person, but if you're sitting on the couch all day watching Netflix, that's really not what you are, right? So we really have to shift our identity and push into that identity. And so the question then is, if you want to be an SPD, you need to identify and start acting like one now. So if you're complaining about the fact that your upline doesn't do the right slide deck or they don't have the right presentations and you're not happy with how they're doing this, why aren't you doing that then? Why don't you be the leader that you want to be right now? I want you to be committed to your own growth and be committed to your purpose, right? We don't like quit our jobs to join a direct sales company to then be committed to someone else's growth and someone else's purpose. Like you have to grow and you have to understand what your purpose is. You have to be fully committed to this process as well. And so, like I said, I want you to identify exactly what leadership qualities you wish even your leader had. Be that leader that you wish you had, because nobody's perfect. So here's the thing. I want to pour into you 4 beliefs that are so critical in this industry that it's, usually people say there's 3 beliefs. So we're going to go and then you'll see the 4th one. But the first one is obvious. We need to believe in the product. And I know all of you believe in this product. Some of you may not, because you've heard some weird things like it's placebo or it's this, that you hear some funky stuff. I was just in my naturopathic group today and there was a whole conversation about this company. And I had to step in. They literally are talking about stuff that's incorrect. But part of the problem is I believe so strongly in this product. It is backed by science. It is backed by, this is just my own team, a small portion of the testimonies from my own team. That's part of it. But then do you believe in the company? And part of it is when you look at the overall relationship between the product and the company, some people can say, yeah, I love the product, but I don't love the company, or I love the company, but man, the product they got to work on. We have something that no one else has. The patches that we carry, the X39 alone is enough to make you want to do nothing else but this, okay? And I will tell you something too. I've been teaching pretty aggressively. I teach every Monday and Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm really consistent. I make sure anybody in LifeWave is able to come to those. It's just an open Q&A, and I teach a little bit on product. But I will say what's interesting is we're really narrowing down that 4% to 0%. And what I mean by that is there's a 4% of the population that this doesn't work for. I don't believe that's true. I believe we can get that to 0% because it's user error. And so when we start to understand, when I watch David talk, when I'm listening to our company, I will say right now that David is the most incredible leader of any company I've ever experienced in the 31 years of being in this industry. He's not only the scientist and inventor, he's the founder, he's the CEO, he is like our Papa Bear, right? He's the genius behind all of it, but he loves us so much. He holds over 200 patents. This was counted recently by the actual corporate staff. David is very like humble and will only say 150 patents because that's where his uncle hit. His uncle hit 150 patents. So he does not want to like step on his uncle's toes. It's very kind of him. So he will always say 150. We're over 200 now and over 80 clinical trials. There isn't any products like our legal team is saying we're going to be able to get some claims back because we have the studies to back them up. Other companies that make claims don't. They use third-party studies on like a ingredient, not the actual product itself. We have over 80 clinical trials on our patches, right? So this is a different animal completely. He's an honorary doctor of science and technology and a 2-time recipient of the Advanced Technology Award from the International Hall of Fame. Now, here's the thing that was most interesting to me. As I was researching this day 2, like I started these patches February 2 years ago. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't believe my experience just in the first 24 hours. It was so mind-blowing to me that I had to tell all of my clients. I had to get, like, I now make it so that my practice, I will not help anybody unless they're on these patches. Like, this is the main modality. We do other things as well, but this is the thing that really has shown the most improvement in people's health. And so what I will say about David that kind of freaked me out was as I was watching this, I watched with such skeptical eyes and mind. My mind was so skeptical when I was listening to him talk because I thought, okay, here we go, another weird, wacky thing, until I heard this man boldly give all the glory to God and say that none of this was his idea, that it was just God gave it to him. And I thought, okay, I can get behind this man. Because as a Christian, it's very important. Now, I know everybody's different religions and stuff, but just to be able to be so humble to give glory to God was such a huge, huge like difference for me. So the belief in the company, but then also the actual greater company, the amount of amazing people that work for this company. I don't know how I managed this, but I'm right behind David here on his like his right side, but just on the left side of the picture, and Brooke's behind him on the other side. I don't know how we managed that. But going to the Welcome Center and doing the whole experience, this is the intro to the Welcome Center, going through all of this, just seeing everything. We got Meredith to take our picture. I mean, our Welcome Center is off the chain, but again, it doesn't matter. It's just a building. It's the people that matter. And to know that Meredith's got our back, Garrett's got our back, David's got our back, Geraldo, like everybody, so many people are so excited to help us and be there for us. Even when you just call the VIP line, you know, if you're an SPD, going through all of that, these people who care for us and love us. So the other thing, the third area of belief is belief in yourself. Now, like I said, I can be a bit of a train wreck. I can be somebody who's just got, you know, issues. I need to work on myself. I can damage people. I can be very prickly. You know, how did my younger self view me? How did she say, you know, oh, she's doing good today, she's doing bad today? You know, would my little Jenny inner self be proud of me today? I often ask myself, would I hire myself today or would I fire myself today? Basically, you need to believe that you can do it. You need to believe that you deserve it. And you need to believe that you will do it. But at the same time, we have to remember that we're stronger than we think. Oftentimes we let, I don't know, I look at like the demons get in our heads and say, nope, you're an imposter. You're not somebody that can do this. And it's really important that we remember the amount of positivity that you're pouring into yourself. is so important, and what you're giving back, not only to God, but to others around you, how that's working. Remember, you're contagious by up to 10 feet. So how are we really looking at that? And so I want you to work on yourself. I'm going to give you 10 areas of leadership that are going to help you get through this. We're going to get that just at the end. But the fourth and final thing is belief in the industry. And this is probably the biggest problem, the biggest elephant in the room. Because when you start thinking of what are all the negative things people say, oh, it's one of those icky pyramid things, it's a scam, it's, placebo effect, like they just want your money, nobody cares about you. Like we've heard it all. But what I want you to understand is that the direct sales industry is a $200 billion a year industry. It's massive. And I want you to see that the largest pie is health and wellness, that dark purple area there, the largest portion. And this was based on 2022. I would say, like, when we look at LifeWave as a whole, we won the Bravo Growth Award. We are considered the fastest growing direct sales company in the world. So if I were to look at this pie, I would say we're taking up a good amount of that pie, because we are the ones who are, everyone's looking at us saying, what is it that you're doing? And it's because we have the cookie. We have the thing. We have the patch X39 that is changing everything. So please don't forget that. Don't forget that the X39 itself, on itself, is what is changing everything within our company, because it's magical, right? It's helping your body do the right thing. That's what we love about this. And because it's patented and no one else on the planet has it. So this is not a Me Too product. That's an important distinction to make. Okay, so I want to give you 10 areas. They're the top 10 ways to inspire leadership. I'm going to blow through these really fast so that you can experience this quickly. Number one, I want you to give your team ownership. If you do everything all the time, you're not allowing anyone else to grow. So give them ownership over things. Like, let them do the presentations. Let them be the ones that are sharing their stories, okay? I also, number two, want you to teach the tools so that you can duplicate. There are several onboarding systems that we have that are very similar. There's onboarding systems, there's strategy systems of how you share. They're all very clear and simple. If you're not teaching the tools and then having them duplicate those, and you're trying to recreate the wheel each time, that's not going to work well for you. So teach the tools and duplicate it. Number three, I want you to walk the walk. You absolutely need to do what you're saying to them to do. We know this, right? Don't do as I say, not as I do. Do whatever it takes for you to be in the lead of that charge, that you are walking the walk, that you are, so many people in leadership get to the top and think, all I need to do now is like manage. Sure, there's a lot of admin and management stuff that happens when you're at the top, but at the same time, if you're not in the trenches with your people, nobody respects you and nobody wants to do anything. They want to feel like they're being heard. They want to feel like they're actually in it with you. So walk the walk. Number four, I want you to, when you have a valid complaint, complain to your upline, but never complain to your downline. Okay. It's like being the cancer in the room. We don't want to be that icky, gross, negative energy. You always encourage down. Okay, my team knows I'm the crazy lunatic questioner. I've tried to stop that, but I want to get things done. So whenever I complain up, I'm always trying to give some way to make it better, make it right. How can we work this through? But at the same time, just remember, complain up and encourage down. Number five, I want you to celebrate every success and get your team on board with doing the same, duplicating that celebration. It can be anything as simple as so-and-so is brand new and just joined our group, or so-and-so just had her first one-on-one. Like, sometimes we get into the only celebrating ranks. I think it's important for us to celebrate anything. Somebody, they just did their first live Zoom by themselves, right? Like, whatever it is, celebrate every success. Number 6, leaders are readers. It's just a fact. If you don't like to read, Audible. Leaders are audibles. I don't know how you would say that, but leaders are readers. That just means that you're pouring into yourself good things, things that can help you grow, things that will help you think differently, things that will actually allow your leadership skills to expand. Okay, number 7, I want you to be authentic. I want you to be weird. Okay. So it's often said to let your freak flag fly. Part of the issue is too many of us want to look perfect on the outside. It's just not, it's not true, right? I mean, share with people your oddities. Be who you are. The more authentic you can be, the better. Okay. And I just encourage you guys on this not to try to be so polished that nobody can duplicate that. Okay. Number 8, be consistently persistent. Okay. Be consistently persistent. I've signed up over 1,400 people. That is not from me just knowing a bunch of people. That is from me being almost annoyingly persistent. I reach out to someone and it's sometimes 7, 8, 9 times that I've reached out to them before they say, okay, I'm interested in trying this. I've found that most people are just busy. It's not that you're annoying them. It's that they just, and sometimes by number 4 or 5, I say, hey, I don't want to be annoying to you. Are you still interested? If not, I will stop messaging you. But if you are interested, I just want to kind of keep you in the loop. 9 times out of 10, they say, yeah, I'm still interested. I've just been really busy. So just keep messaging me and I'll hop on one of these days to one of your Zooms, right? We do trainings every week. So part of that is, how are you being consistently persistent with people? I don't mean consistently persistent with designing your website, right? That's busy work. What are you consistently persistent in with IPAs? Income producing activities. Okay, number 9, I need you to keep it simple. Part of the problem is too many of us try to overcomplicate things because we feel like we have to vomit, like word vomit on people. Now, some of you know, I know a lot when it comes to this product line, like a lot. Part of the issue is I also have to keep my mouth zipped. I point them to the tools. I point them to the website that is a specific educational website. They learn from there. They don't buy from there. They come back to me. I tell them to watch this 1 2-minute video, right? We've got some amazing, really short explainer videos. I want them to just watch that. Then I invite them to one of our product introductory Zooms. I want them to come on and hear from somebody. It's like 10 minutes. We make it so simple and it's duplicatable. And I never have to talk about what the patches do. I don't even have to talk about photobiomodulation. I don't have to talk about the cells. I don't have to talk about anything. I can just point them to the tools and then they are ready to sign up once they've gone through very short amount of things to look at. And then I sign them up. We got to keep it simple, stupid, right? Is that KISS? I know everyone has different words for that, but keep it simple. Number 10, and this I had to learn the hard way. I want you to share your weaknesses and your faults with your team. I want you to be so real with them that when you mess up, you can go to them and say, I messed up. That's not complaining down, by the way. That is showing them that you are not perfect. That is showing them that, oh, I'm like them. They could look at me and say, oh, actually, Jen's not perfect. I'm like her and she's like me. If I'm like her and she's like me, guess what? I can become an SPD too. It changes it shifts everything. So I want you to share your weaknesses and your faults with your team. And just remember that you don't have all the answers, right? We do the best we can with what we have. And I want you to really consider what your dreams are. Who do you want to be? Shift your identity. Get the belief going, belief in the product, belief in the company, belief in yourself, and belief in this industry. And then I want you to really pour into your team, grow yourself by pouring into them, and really decide what you want and be the person you want to be. Be that leader, the leader that you wish you had. All right. So again, my name is Dr. Jen O Sullivan, and I have just been overjoyed and pleasantly surprised by being able to pour into your day today, Thank you, Garrett, for having me on. And if you guys got questions, we're here. So I love doing open Q&A.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. There's so much good information you kind of packed into that. I love the idea that we're all contagious. I mean, that one kind of hit me because how often do we, put our contagion on other people up to 10 feet? That's, it just kind of puts into perspective. But I also like the idea that we are contagious, but we also have light, you know, and that's where, and this is something that my mom always taught me, and that was, a hug is healing. Why? Because we're sharing our light with the individual that close. So when you get that chance to hug somebody, you're contagious in both ways. Both for the good and the light, or unfortunately the darkness too. If we're bringing that with us, hopefully we're not, right? But I love your 10 tips. I want to say this too. One of the areas I think most people struggle with is when they're looking at their beliefs is that portion about themselves. And I think the thing that, and this is one that's for me, and that is, do I deserve it? And the reality is everyone deserves it. We're all children of God. We all have this innate ability to do miraculous, wonderful things, but we don't always think we deserve it. And we all do deserve it, So it's that little voice in the back of our head telling us that, we're not. So just so much great information. And I took a lot of notes, as you can kind of see here. I want to make sure that, because I want to learn just like everyone else, it is a process. And I love the fact that you're willing to just let everyone know that you can be a mess at times too. I think we all can be. If you were to come to our house right now, we have a number of sick kids. It is not going to be pretty. It's just the nature of the environment that we're dealing with right now. But that's just how life is. Life can be messy, and that's what it is. So, but yes, if anybody has any questions, put them in the Q&A section. There is one question here, Jen, that I think it might be worth you responding to, and that is, when you were talking about, I think it was under, let's see, be consistently persistent. You're talking about the importance of following up 7, 8, 9 times. So how often do you follow up with somebody?
I try to rotate it and do follow up with people. Like I'll do a couple texts back and forth. And then if the text goes bad, because most of mine is all done online. Most of my people that I sign up are online. If it's local here, it's a text, I mean, it's so funny. I might see somebody at church and just, I don't really want to talk business at church. So I tend to just follow up through text. But oftentimes I'm doing a voice follow up. So, too many people get nervous about that, but there's the voice text, and sending a quick voice text and make it short, like 30 to 60 seconds, goes a long way because you can hear your passion and your care. When I'm saying, "Do you want to buy the patch?" they just think somebody's trying to sell. And if I talk that through and say, "I really think this is going to be amazing for you. I want to help you get better in this area," whatever we were talking about. But yeah, it's just I have a route that I take. I have a very specific onboarding. What that means is somebody says, "I'm interested." I send them to our website, and then they say, "Okay." And I tell them specifically what to do on that website. Watch the first 3 videos. They're very short. 2 of them are LifeWave. One is just me, 5 minutes, like talking head. And then they come back and they'll, if I don't hear back from them, I will follow up and say, "Hey, just checking, did you get a chance to watch those 2 videos?" And if they say no, I do want to invite them. We have 2 just open to anyone in LifeWave sessions. They're 15 minutes at 6 o'clock it's really easy. Monday, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we do 2 of these a week so that anybody can come on. I'm not selling, I'm sharing the actual product. And then I want them, so I often invite them to that. "Do you have 10, 15 minutes to hop on a quick Zoom tonight?" I usually ask them that day. "Here's the link. If you can just hop on, it's really easy." And then I do a quick open Q&A. I think I'm one of the only leaders that lets all LifeWave come and do an open Q&A. But it is something where, we want to answer people's questions. People have questions, and we can't be afraid to answer them. And if you don't know, you say, like, if somebody asks you a question on a text as one of the follow-ups, you say, "That's an excellent question. I'm going to find out for you." And there's plenty of people. Our leadership team here, I'm constantly on text with Dustin, like, "Can you answer this question?" So yeah, it's just following up and being persistent. And if they ghost you for a minute, Don't be nervous about reaching out again and just asking a question. That's all.
Perfect. That we're getting a lot of questions here also about how do we rewatch this, and so how do we get access to this again? It is recorded, and it will be actually replayed again this evening at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So if you would like to use the same link for this one, it will be a recording of this one. It's not going to be live like this one is, but it will give everyone opportunity to be able to still watch it again. And then probably in about a week, it will go up on our YouTube page where people can go in and rewatch it as well. So there's a number of different ways you can get a chance to see this and rewatch it. And certainly with all the information, I would recommend anybody, even if you've seen it today, to go back and rewatch this multiple times, every so often, because there's so much it's good information here that it's always good to get that reminder on a consistent basis. I think you mentioned consistency multiple times throughout this thing, and I think it is definitely one of those really big areas we all need to be better at. All right, let's see. We're getting a lot of questions about where would someone find the information for your Monday and Wednesday night webinars.
We have an open Facebook group that anyone's welcome to join. It's just education. And we do this really specifically. We've got several moderators in there and admins, but we don't allow anybody to sell in there. So it's a safe space for people to come and ask questions. And again, like I said, if anybody says, how do I buy the patches? It's like we delete that. We tell them, go to the person who shared this group with you. We don't want anybody, selling in there. So that's a really important distinction to make. That is Patch EDU on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, you could go to the patchedu.com website and just in there's like a place to email us, and you can just say, hey, what's the link to your, it's the same link and password. Giving it here wouldn't make any sense because it's a Zoom link, but it's just the same link and password that is every single Monday and Wednesday. And the replays are always on YouTube, and the YouTube channel is just the Patch EDU site. So again, it's just education. And I try real clear not to put like my link on that YouTube. I have my own personal Jen O Sullivan YouTube that I put my link on. But again, I try to make it a safe space for you to share videos and not feel like somebody might enroll with me. I am like super anti-poaching. So I can sign up enough people without taking your people. I never, ever want anyone to think that I would ever do that.
Yeah, no, and I know that that's certainly been your attitude in any conversations that we've had as well. So one question is, how do you handle severe skepticism about the MLM industry?
I love this question because the point of this is to lean into it. And most of us get so afraid of this question that we just say, oh, I don't know. And they're like, oh, they don't like the MLM industry, so I'm just going to leave them away. Like you quietly walk away. I really think it's more powerful if you agree with them. Yeah, I've had some funky MLM experiences. I don't put this in a traditional MLM category. I never do. And I tell them that. I go, I get it. Those weird, crazy unilevel where everybody's just trying to sell you and it's just icky. I agree. They're awful. This is a professional direct sales model using a binary system. That is what I say in sort of like authoritarian, emphatic terminology so that they feel like I'm saying this is a powerful thing. This is literally a professional direct sales model in a binary system. That is what I say over and over again. And it sort of deflates them. I'm like, yeah, no, I agree. Anytime somebody says to you, well, isn't this a placebo or whatever their negative connotation that they have, just agree with them. Yeah, there's a lot of weird snake oil people out there and it's awful. How do you wade through it? Well, this is patented. It's proven by clinical studies and it works. It works. Try for yourself. So part of that is it's just if you have a stronger resolve than they do about their problem, right? You win. So that's like, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I like that. Another question that they have here is, what do you do when somebody ghosts you?
It is an issue because people just ghosting can be anything from, the term ghosting really means that they have stopped responding to you, but you can still see activity on social media that they're watching you because they're like acting like a ghost. But we typically use that term and like they've just disappeared. And honestly, it's something where you just have to be bold and ask the question, hey, I've noticed that you haven't responded in a while. If I'm being too forward, it's only because I love you and want to help you. If you're not interested, I'll back off. Actually giving them the ability to tell you, yeah, I'm not that interested. And then to back away, right? But oftentimes I found that people ghosting, it's just because they're busy. Sometimes I have nonverbal learning disorder, so I don't really get ghosting. I'm sort of like, well, unless you tell me to leave you alone, I'm not leaving you alone. But honestly, it's something where you have to ask the question and give them the ability to say, yeah, I'm not really interested, or maybe not at this time. Circle back with me in 6 months. Then write it on your calendar that 6 months from now you reach out to them. That's being persistent.
I like that. And that is, if someone actually tells you, gives you permission to check back with them in 6 months, if you don't, sometimes they're like, well, I told them they could, and they must not have cared, and yet we're nervous. We think if I call back, maybe they won't like it, and you're going, no, they gave you permission. You should do it. So, all right, let's see if what other questions do we have here? Let's see here. Right. So some of the questions that are coming in are things that I think we've already responded to, in a few of them. Let's see. There's quite a few about how do we rewatch this again tonight. You can watch using the same link that we just saw here, at 6 p.m. Pacific time, or that would also be, let's see, that would be, what is it, 9 p.m. Mountain Time or time. So depending on where you're at in between, you can certainly find it there. So question, and this is one that I don't know how well. It's probably hard to answer this question in a short period of time. But they're like, how would you suggest I be introduced in 60 words or less? That one's kind of I'm not quite sure how you would answer that, because I'll start counting and you start telling the words, and I'll see how we get it. But,
Maybe 60 seconds or less. Part of it is that elevator speech. What do you tell somebody, right?
Mhm.
I have my ears here, like perked up for people complaining about backache, or like they don't feel good, or whatever their issue is, right? And I ask them, is this, have you ever used something that could actually help rejuvenate younger, healthier cells? So that's a compliant way of saying, right? Because we're not supposed to talk about stem cells unless you bring Cellergize into it. So usually we're just saying younger, healthier cells. And I've been back and forth with our compliance team to make sure that's totally legal language. And younger, healthier cells is a great way to say, this is going to help your body produce younger, healthier cells. Is this something that you would be interested in experiencing? And if it's personal, one-on-one, you don't have to say much. You just put a patch on them. I always make sure they drink some water. It's very important that they drink like 3 or 4 gulps of water before we put a patch on them. But I don't hand anybody a patch, because they'll take it and they're activating it because they stick in their pocket or their purse, and it's not going to be used properly. I say, can I put something on you? It's non-transdermal. You got to tell them that it's non-transdermal. I noticed one of the questions was like, how does this actually work? So we can get into that if you want to. But part of that is helping them just say, this is going to make you feel better because it's activating mitochondria. That's an easy way to like explain it. People know, and you can say that's the energy centers of your cells. Again, that's a little too sciencey for some people. It's just, this is going to help your body start feeling better. And would you like to come to like a quick introductory, or do you want to watch a quick 2-minute video? Oftentimes, like I said, it's just pointing them to the resources. And for us, it's patchedu.com. I noticed that question. There's a lot of resources from different leaders, we're all very similar. The patchedu.com website is fully compliant though, again, because we've gone back and forth with compliance to make sure it's fully compliant. And you can be assured that that's a fully compliant site, and it's still loaded with information.
Perfect. Yeah, and maybe if you don't mind just touching briefly on that question about how do the patches work, because I mean it really is kind of some of the basics of introducing someone to what we do, because it is non-transdermal, so it doesn't get into the skin.
Yeah, and the one thing that's a hot word right now is infrared therapy. So if you say this is infrared therapy that you don't have to plug in, and it's continuous low light that you can wear while walking around. Easy as putting on a Band-Aid. Like that would be your little 60-second thing, if you wanted to talk about it. But part of it is understanding that inside the white patches it's made out of activated oxygen, amino acids, and salt. And inside the brown patches, it's activated oxygen, amino acids, and sugar, namely molasses. If you don't believe me, cut one open and taste it. It's molasses. And it's embedded onto a polyester fabric disc that doesn't touch your skin because it's encased in medical grade plastic. And that's part of it, is that people are saying, well, how does this work then? Well, it doesn't. It works like a light switch. The light switch turns on and off the electricity. It opens up the port for electricity to flow into whatever device you have, whether it's a light or a blender, whereas the patch itself is turning on basically a switch on your skin. So when the sun hits your skin, that wavelength of light triggers your body to create vitamin D. In the very specific wavelength pattern that the crystals make, they're tiny little mirrors, your own infrared light bounces off of those tiny crystals that are in there. And on the dermis of your skin, low light infrared therapy, it's not like infrared light therapy in that it's just dermal. This is actually triggering or signaling your body to actually produce more amino acids, and each patch has a different amino acid signal. In the case of X39, it's glycine, histidine, and lysine. Again, you would never explain all of that to people, but I know some of you, like us nerds out there, want to know. And it combines it with copper. Those four create this very amazing life-enhancing peptide. Again, another buzzword. People know infrared therapy, they know peptides. So instead of having to inject your body with non-human peptides, this is creating what's called endogenous peptides. Those are human peptides, namely for X39, GHKCU, glycine, histidine, lysine bound to copper. That is what is so phenomenal about this. The patch is just the switch. It's like a switchboard telling your body to do the work. Once your body combines those four ingredients, it's magical. So this is where this miracle is happening. It's increasing GHKCU, which it was discovered in 1973 by Dr. Lauren Picard. Mind-blowing. He went so far as to do topical stuff. David took it the complete opposite direction to help your body create endogenous GHKCU, which is a game changer.
Love that. And that certainly, and that's the beautiful thing about this. I remember the first day I started, I was kind of the same. It's got to be something on the patch that's getting into my skin, but the reality, there isn't, and that's the beauty of the technology. And it's also one of the things I think makes this so different and so unique, is that if there isn't really anything else on the market that is doing the same thing. And so it puts us in kind of a situation where there really isn't any really strong competitors. Now, does that mean we'll never have any competitors? I'm sure we will at some point, just because as any company grows like we're growing, it's going to happen, right? But as we currently are, we really are a really, really unique company with some incredible technology. And the better we understand that, someone asked me once, well, Garrett, what do you see in the future? I mean, where are we at now, and where do you see us in the future? And I said, I think the reality is, if people really understood the technology that we have, we would be 3 or 4 times bigger than we currently are. Just because people don't really understand what photobiomodulation is, or phototherapy, just some of them are buzzwords now, but they still don't quite grasp the concept. But I will say LifeWave is certainly helping get that message out there, and it is continually growing and getting bigger and better. And I think as we continue to do our part in sharing that message, it will just continue to become much more of just a common term that people just will automatically start to accept, because they understand what that technology is all about.
Yeah. And on our Monday and Wednesday, I go into that. I go into deeply, how do you make sure, like, if someone's not seeing results, how do you correct some of the things that could be an issue? And again, I think a lot of it has to do with COVID, like what happened with people taking too much zinc and too much vitamin C, which blocked the absorption of copper. A lot of people are copper deficient. Some people are copper toxic, which means they've got rogue copper. So there's answers. And that's part of the reason that I do these Monday, Wednesdays, because you guys can actually come on and get those answers. And it's like a light bulb moment for understanding like what you need. It's why our Celergize product is answering that question as well. You guys need glycine and lysine. Everybody has histidine, and you need some copper. So, it's just checking those numbers.
Yeah. And I love it here too, as I'm watching some of the questions coming up. Someone's asking, if I have the patch, and it's not, and it affects my skin, maybe I have an allergy to it. What do I do? And people are like, put it on your clothes. I mean, and just watching people respond and answer everyone's questions through here as well, which is the answer. I mean, the reality is you can put it within, what is it, 6 inches of the skin, and you're still, I'm not
Sort
sure.
of. You still need the body heat. So you need the 85-degree skin temperature to activate them. Yes, infrared light throws far, but the patches need to be like within body heat. So normally it's like put it on the outside of your underwear, something like that. But generally speaking, people aren't allergic to this. I know that will get some kickback, but it's because they're putting a patch on top of old patch adhesive that they didn't wash off enough. I'm always laughing at how much leftovers on my husband's back. So I sit there and scrub it when I'm in the shower. But you have to really make sure you clean off all the leftover adhesive, because the adhesive is medical grade. It's 3M. I believe it's silicone based adhesive, but I'm waiting on an answer from Dustin on that one, or acrylic. So 3M uses one of those two. It's a proprietary blend, but they're hypoallergenic. And realistically, the only way you would be allergic to this is if you used it the first time, had a reaction. If it's like a couple weeks later, it's that you're making a little petri dish of germs because of the fabric and stuff that was caught on the, I've seen fabric rings on people's necks and they have like a patch over it, and then they wonder why they're getting a rash. So we just work with people on that to make sure they're cleaning the spot, maybe rotating the spot so that you're letting that skin breathe. Yeah.
That's actually great feedback. And I think that probably is where most people are having those reactions to it, is due to that. And so that's great. All right. Well, we are kind of coming to the top of the hour. Are there any other thoughts you'd like to share before we go?
I think that all of you are doing such a phenomenal job. I want to encourage you, if you are a leader or if you're wanting to be a leader, to just remember to step into that role and just do the work, do what you think would be the best leadership thing, and grow. Part of it is I mess up all the time. I mean, I have such amazing testimonies on myself. And I just laugh that, people can sit there and say it's placebo. And I'm the biggest skeptic. And part of it is, how are you sharing stories? How are you working through the reality of what's going on here? Because this company, like Garrett said, like we should be 3 times bigger right now if people truly understood the technology. But think this through, like we are at the beginning of this tsunami here. We are only going up. When other companies right now are declining, we are going up. And so I just encourage you guys to trust that and to just be bold. I think that we need more people that are just going to forget about what people care, right? People, we worry too much. We're we want to please people too much. Just say, I care about you enough to tell you this. Because if I didn't open my big fat mouth 2 years ago, my whole team, so many people say, I am so thankful. I lost my job. My husband lost his entire career because I opened my mouth about this product, because the other company I was with didn't like it. And I'm like, it's a perfect match. And they still didn't like it. So part of it is I didn't care. It's like, you know what? This product works. So why are we so afraid? So just let it go. Get out there. Tell everybody.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Be blessed,
Yeah.
guys.
Yes. And thank you so much for your time today and sharing that with us, and being able to really share those really key leadership principles. And I think like I say, I said it before and I'll say it again. I think this is one of those topics we can go back and rewatch multiple times and continue to learn and grow from it, because our level of leadership is going to come into it as we accept some of these different principles. And we don't always, we're not able to work on every single principle all the time. So pick the 1 or 2 that you can work on today and really focus on those, and then go to the next and go to the next. Because
Great advice.
we continue to grow. So Dr. Jensel, thank you so much for being on with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thanks everyone else for being on with us today. We do this because we know it's making a difference, and we have a great group of people on here today. And we expect more and more. We'll have a chance to see it tonight as well as on our YouTube channel. So again, thank you. And we'll look forward to catching up with you all again next month on our LifeWave Connect Business webinar. All right. Thanks, everyone. And take care.